Okay. Good evening, everyone. Uh, I'm thinking if we should wait like 5 more minutes for those that might be trying to join. What do you guys think? Thinking we should wait 5 more minutes. Okay. Well, in the meantime, hello everyone. Welcome. Good evening. My name is Hannah Macauley. I am a project manager and also a product manager. My background is in mechanical engineering, and um, when it comes to career and life, I have a very diverse path and a very diverse background, which I have come to see as a very huge strength rather than a disadvantage. Well, which some persons often try to make it sound like, but it's a very huge strength because from this diverse background, I have come to a key understanding of the technical aspects of things and the people aspects of things. So that is me in a nutshell. I currently work for Rooftop Accelerators. Most of us might know or might not know, but we are more likely referred to as the Rooftop. And we have our different, should I say, locations in Lagos. We have in Ibadan. We have in Taraba. We also have in Port Harcourt, and our headquarters is here at Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, which is where I am. And at the Rooftop, I am still a project manager, product manager. I'm also an administrator there. So with that, I have over 6+ years in work experience from diverse industries, which is the reason why CV and resume has always been a thing of interest to me because of how people craft CVs and resumes and what is your CV and your resume can actually mean. It oftentimes could mean the difference between you actually going on to the interview stage and the difference between you and any other candidate. So that is why I'm here. I'm also a big and a firm believer that it doesn't matter what type of skill you have. Eventually, we end up in the manager's position where we have to manage people. And that is why I thought to, let's put this together. Let's put this webinar together and let's educate people that probably may not have the right understanding about probably like how to go about certain things, maybe from personal branding to CV writing, and just help them structure it in a way that puts them in the market for being hired. So that is the main reason why this is happening. So I would not mind if you have any questions you want to ask before we get into the the nitty gritty of this meeting today. If you have any question, any, you know, enlightenment you'd like to put for us before we go forward, yeah, I'm open to it. Just signify so that we can hear from you. Okay. Okay. Um, okay. Without any further ado, uh, I believe we can begin. Okay. Just okay. So A moment, please. Okay. All right. So, good evening, everyone, to all the persons that are actually here today. It is such an honor to be hosting this webinar. And before we get into today's webinar topic, I just want to share a brief info on this webinar series. So this webinar series is designed to help every single person, whether you are whether you're a product manager, a project manager, a community manager, social media manager, virtual assistant, a web developer, an engineer, a designer, a data analyst, cybersecurity expert, whatever field of study that you have actually embarked on. You could even be a teacher, a preacher, Basically, it's for everyone. The webinar is crafted specially to actually help people transition into management roles, because at the end of it, whatever career path that you've actually picked, you would end up being a manager eventually. But the way you go about it might be, what makes it faster or later, in the sense that how you move from, or how you currently are in your current role, can actually be a determining factor to know whether tomorrow you become a manager or not. But the idea of it is, as you grow in your career, you will definitely become a manager. So it's open for every single person. So this webinar is going to last for 5 weeks. And this is the first part of the webinar, which we're going to be focusing on CV writing and resume, just crafting it for, leadership roles, crafting it for managerial roles, and crafting your CV, just learning how to craft your CV better to make you stand out and to allow you to be selected amongst the lots when applying for a job. By next week, we're going to go into interview processes and preparation tips that would actually give you much more confidence to sit for an interview and actually have a good percentage of, am I going to get it or not? After that, the third week, we're going to go into personal branding, which we are going to look at social media as your branding space and seeing how you can build a personal brand. Then after that, we're going to look at productivity tools that everyone should actually learn how to use, productivity tools and project management tools that you can use for your own benefit. And last but not the least, we're going to round it off with essential skills that you need to portray, and also how to build those skills to be able to, fit in for a leadership position or a manager's position. So that is what we have packed for this 5 weeks webinar series. And I hope as you've started today, you'd, be with us all along till the final day. This session is designed to be very interactive. And if you have a question while teaching is going on, do well to note down that question. We would come back to it during our workshop section and also Q&A. If you would like for us to also review your CV, we have 2 slots left, and it's going to be the first person to send in theirs. Those are the people that we're actually going to work on. And we do have gifts for people that actually joined this webinar very early. So we have gifts for 3 persons. So at the end of it, we're going to select the 3 persons that I actually have the list already. So we're just going to be presenting this token as saying thank you for showing up. So without much, we're going to dive right into today's topic, and it is crafting a powerful CV or resume for management roles. Crafting a powerful CV or resume for management roles. And before we get into it, we hear CV, we hear resume. Can someone just quick raise of hand, tell us, what do you understand by a CV? What do you understand by a resume? For those of you that are just joining, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Hannah Macauley, and I am a product manager and a project manager, and I'm the convener of this webinar series. Over the next 5 weeks, you're going to see a whole lot of my associates and friends coming in to actually handle each of the week. So it is a pleasure to actually have you here. And as we go, we're going to get to know ourselves much more. So back to the question, what is a CV or what is a resume? Like, what do you understand by it? I'm not looking for Google version. I'm looking for your own version. What do you understand a CV or a resume to be? Please, if you have an answer or if you want to attempt the question, you can use the hand raising icon or button or any emoji of your choice. That I'm waiting. Someone who can tell us what a CV or what they understand by a CV and what they understand by a resume. Should I pick somebody? Let's not be shy. This is a classroom. This is an interactive session. Please let's interact. Do I pick someone? Nobody's saying anything. If you're saying something, please, or if you want to say something, please raise your hand. Yes, Mr. Sunny. Yes. I'll mute your mic so that we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I just unmuted now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. I think your CV is just it just summarizes the detail about your skills, your interests and other stuff, maybe your education and other things that include you. So that's about a CV.
Okay. 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 Thank you. What about a resume? Do you want to attempt for a
Yeah.
resume?
No, not
Okay. Okay. Is there someone else that wants to, give it a try? CV, resume. Okay. Yes, Muna.
Okay, hi
Munachi. Yes.
everybody.
Mm.
I know most of the time people confuse CVs for resume and then resumes for CV. But let me start with resume. Resume is a one or maximum two-page um, brief summary or professional summary of an individual or a potential, how do I put it now, or uh, a potential applicant's work, just a brief summary of what the person has done, what the person is about, right, professionally. So it's maximum 2 pages. That's one I know, and it's used to apply for jobs and basically job roles and job opportunities, right? But when you talk about a CV, that's a curriculum vitae, if I pronounced it well. This can be a lot more than a resume, and I believe that it is used for maybe visa applications or something like visa applications, something like grants per se, and then for school applications and all that. So a CV can take as much as whatever information. So it's not particularly tailored to a particular role. But when it is a resume is kind of like tailored to a particular role. But when you talk about a CV, hey, you can go all crazy and then add all the information that you feel will help you for that particular visa application or that particular school application, and then also for research purposes as well. I hope I've not taken a lot of time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So, Sani and Munachi, I celebrate you guys. Thank you so much for your attempts. And I'm just going to merge it together and give us something concrete. So, a CV, whether it's a CV or a resume, what you should know is that they are marketing tools. Before any hiring manager, before any interviewer gets to actually meet you, your CV and your resume is the first thing they're going to see. So it is you portraying the best version of yourself, whether it's a CV or it's a resume. That's like a ground rule. It has to market you in the best light, in the most professional light. It has to show the good that you have actually done, what you brought to the table at every point in time in your life. So to dive further into it, a CV is curriculum vitae. It's a Latin word which translates to course of life. That means the course of your life, all that you've done throughout your life from school up until right now. Like, what have I done throughout my life? That is a curriculum vitae. And it is a lengthier uh, document in comparison to the two. It's a lengthier document that has every single academic achievements, has every professional experience, has your certifications, your skills, the tools that you know how to use, everything. in the most diverse and inclusive manner possible. Now, while a resume actually is a French word, and it translates in English to summary or sum up, which is usually for a particular role that you're applying for. So it's tailored to the particular role that you're applying for. So a good example, I'll use myself. I come from an engineering background, mechanical engineering, and currently right now I'm an administrator in my current experience right now. And looking at, I have been a teacher, I have been an engineer, I have worked as a front desk person, I have worked as a farm manager, I've even dabbled into a startup of my own. And currently, right now, I work as a product manager, a project manager, and administrator. If you look at it at first instance, it's very diverse. So where you would see all this come together is my CV. You're going to see all the experience from the engineering degree to the engineering role to teaching. And oh, it's not related. That's a CV. It has everything that I have ever done there. Now, a resume is if I'm applying for, say, a product manager position in an organization, I'm just going to focus on all the roles that I have actually had that are focused on management, that focused on product management, initiative management, solutions management, people management. That is what I'm going to focus on in my resume. So CV on one hand has everything I've ever done. Resume, on the other hand, is focused for the particular role that I am applying for. Now, there is actually should I say, a bridge, which is, so for someone that is getting into a particular role, say you just finished learning product management or project management or maybe web development or UI UX design. Let's use product management now, or any management role. And you are feeling like, oh, I don't think I've actually gotten into any management position ever before. But then in your CV, you've been a teacher, you have, probably managed someone's shop, you have probably been a sales rep, you've probably done a bit and the other. Now, the bridge is now you're going to tune, or should I say, arrange those experience to portray the role that you're applying for. So a good example would be if I say a person that is a sales rep has been a teacher, probably worked as a teller person in the bank. Now you're trying to apply for a role in, say, let's say data analyst. As a data analyst, maybe you've learned data analytics and now you want to apply for a role in data analyst. Now, in data analytics, now you've been a sales rep, you've been a teller person at the bank. One common thing is you've always been working with numbers. You've always been looking at targets. You've always been using numbers to make decisions. So if something is going up as a sales rep, if you see that, oh, many people are actually buying this particular thing, you would be able to tell the organization, I think we should stock up on this. If something is not really working, you're the sales rep, you're the person that is actually getting people to buy. So you can also tell the organization, I think we should, mellow on this particular part. So that now, when we translate it into data analytics, it is being able to be data driven, using data, using numbers, facts, and figures to make decisions. So actually push an organization in a path that will actually bring success to them. So in that order, you can see how someone that feels like, oh, what I did in past is unrelated, how you now manage to portray that, okay, I am fit for this role in this particular aspect. So oftentimes you would always hear people, one of the key advice there is the job description. You should always read the job description in which you're applying for to be able to tailor whether it's your resume or your CV. And like Miss Munachi rightfully said, CVs are usually used for when you're applying for like grants, you're applying for maybe a research grant in the university, you're trying to get a visa. They usually want to see, okay, what have you done all through your life? What experiences have you had all through the course of what achievements have you actually gotten. So those are the areas where, CVs will usually be pushed for. However, in some places, people don't really know the difference between a CV and a resume. And I might be asking for a resume, but what I actually want to see is a CV. The best way, that's why I created that bridge. The best way for you to save yourself at any point in time is in that bridge. At every point in time, whether it's a CV that they're asking for or a resume, try to tailor it to that particular role that you're applying for. Whether they're asking for a CV or a resume, whether they know what they're asking for or not, tailor your CV to fit that role that you're applying for. And there is this wonderful lady in Product Dive that I had the pleasure of learning from. Her name is Toby O. I'll just keep it at Toby O. And she is the lead product manager at Product Dive. And she came up with this, should I say, strategy in which you're supposed to craft your CV. And it talks about SIM, that's SIM, which says skills, impact, and metrics. Skills is the skill you had to apply. Impact is what impact that skill was able to get. And then metrics, what can we use to measure your result in this particular role? And at every point in time, so if I am applying for a product manager's position in, say, a fintech organization, I would take my, should I say, let me use my front desk experience, my front desk rep experience, and say, okay, as a product manager in this organization, and in this fintech organization, as before my role here, I was able to work with, cross-functional teams. I was able to address clients and stakeholders. I was able to attend to clients and stakeholders and be able to have their engagement for anything. I was able to handle clients' inquiries and things. So what have I actually gotten from that? One, I'm able to communicate. I have cross-functional team collaboration skills. That's one. Two, I am able to communicate with stakeholders. Stakeholder engagement, I look after stakeholder engagement. I am able to resolve conflicts. Now, how do I channel this in a product manager's position? I am able to work with cross-functional team, whether it's design, whether it's engineers. I can work and talk with engineers and designers alike, and also communicate with marketing and salesperson, which if I bring these skills, I'm adding value to you as an organization. That's one. Then two, the aspect of communication. I can speak to anybody in the term that they will actually understand. I'm able to talk to the sales representative. I'm able to talk to our own clients. I'm able to talk to upper management. I'm able to handle those different communication, knowing like, okay, when I'm talking to this person, this is how it should be like. These are the modes of communication and the tools and strategies that I need to apply depending on who I'm talking to, which stakeholder I'm talking to. And then last but not least, conflict resolution, the ability to stay at a neutral point and bring balance. I do not, as a front desk person, I was able to, resolve conflict between the client and maybe the organization, in the sense that a client will come all disappointed and frustrated about a particular service. Maybe what they ordered for is not what they are getting. And you're able to, neutralize that situation without picking a side, trying to sympathize and empathize with the client, while also maintaining the values of the organization. Now, when you portray this, you then say, okay, so for the conflict resolution, for the impact, I was able to bring down customer conflicts from, say, 10% down to maybe less than 5% or something. And then metrics to measure. We moved from losing customers, say 10, 20 customers in a month, to having more customers join us and then having less customers, maybe say less than 5 customers leaving in a particular month. That means progress. That interpretation of that is, okay, this person, one particular skill that this person brought to the table was able to bring about success in this area. So those are the should I say the bottom line differences between CV and resume and how you portray it. So as you start writing your CV, always look at the skill, the responsibilities that you actually have for a particular role. They come with a particular skill. There's a skill that you are portraying for that. If you're a teacher and you have to create a lesson note, you need to do research. That's the first skill that you have. Like you have researching skills, so you're able to use tools to get the information that you need for this particular lesson. That's one. Two, documentation and organization. You have to now, once you get this information, you will document it, and then you also organize it in a way that would not seem like, oh, everything is everywhere, but it has a nice flow to it. And you're able to keep records of, okay, reports, attendance, this and that. You're able to keep those records. That's also organization. The records of your students, how many students you had in a particular class, how many of them have completed their first test, their exams, what is their progress report looking like, those things, organization and documentation. And then presentation and communication. For you to stand in front of students and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, or this is what this topic is about, breaking it down to molecules that they will actually understand and be able to, remember every point in time. Your presentation skill and communication skill is top notch. So at every point in time, whatever responsibility that you have, there is a skill attached to it. Always try to portray that skill, that, okay, this responsibility, this is, I had to bring my, or probably you hear words like, oh, I led a team, I managed, I did this, I did that. Those are the skills that you're bringing together and you're now pushing it forward. So whoever is reading it is now saying, okay, this is what that person did, this is what that person did. Just to give an example, I'm going to share a quick example with you for that. But if anyone has a question, you are free to ask. If you have a question, please just raise your hand. If you have a question, if you're lost, if there's something. Munachi, your hand is raised. Do you have a question?
Sorry, it was a mistake. I don't know how that happened. I wasn't even close to the phone. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Sure. Okay. Is there anyone that has a question? Okay, so I would just show you a sample of a CV that has been crafted mainly for this purpose. And once we're done, we're going to move into the workshop phase where we will be helping 3 persons craft their CV. Okay, please, can everyone see my screen?
No, I can't see your screen.
If you can't see my screen, okay, just give it a moment. Still loading.
It's not up yet.
Yeah, okay, just please give it a moment. Still loading, it's coming up. All right, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. I can see your screen.
Okay,
All right, we can see it now.
okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is actually for should I say the presentation purpose, and I'm yet to actually see any organization that would accept this for their CV or resume. So,
See your screen.
sorry,
I
hello.
can't see your screen. Is your picture I'm seeing?
Okay, even now you can't see it.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'll try. I'll stop presenting and I'll present all over again. I'll start all over again. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Mayonnaise Samson. Can you see my screen?
No, please. I'm seeing the
Okay.
picture.
Okay, so what I'm going to do to actually do this is I would share the link to the document so you could just follow along.
Okay, share it in the comment.
So the link to the document is in the in-call message and it's accessible so you could, read through it.
Okay, please.
Okay, so I've dropped it. You can find it in the in-call message. Okay, so now let's back it up. So how a
Okay,
CV
your
should
screen is
look.
showing now.
Okay. I believe can everyone see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Okay. All right. For those of us that are mic and mute, you can just give an emoji or a sign, something. Okay. So like I said, I gave a disclaimer. I'm not saying that this is how you should create your CV. It's built just for the purpose of this presentation. So first things first, at every point in time, there are certain things that you need to put, whether it's in a CV or in the resume. First thing is your name, your full name, not your nickname, not any other name. Anything that cannot be found on your birth certificate or your NIN, you should not put it on your CV. First thing is your full name. You can choose to write your three names. Most persons just go for two names. I go for my two names. Then your phone number. Your phone number has to be your mobile phone number. Any number that once somebody carries to call you, they can always reach you. Then the next one is your email address. Now, I always advise if you have any email address that does not reflect your full name, that does not reflect your name in any way, please go and create a new one. When it comes to, creating like a professional brand or anything, just portraying, marketing yourself, it's always best that your email is as professional also. And it's even an added plus for you if it has your name, because if I remember your name, your email, I might not forget your email. If I remember your email, I might not forget your name. So you want to present yourself in the most professional light. And then for the headshot, if you don't have a headshot, please go and invest in a headshot. You either invest in a friend that has an iPhone or you invest in a photographer. Anyone, you shall need a headshot. In this professional life, you need a headshot. And then your social media. Many organizations now, that's why there's building a personal brand using social media in this webinar. Many organizations now do not even want to see your CV. They want to go through your social media page. So your CV, if it's something that you need to add, if you think, oh, it would give you chances, you can go ahead and add it on your CV. Some organizations would request for it. So that's one. The next part is your summary. So your professional summary should always be based off you're introducing like a quick pitch about yourself, your who you are, your goals, and what you've done and your goals currently. So it's a quick pitch about yourself. You can decide to tune it anywhere, and also it can also be tailored to the job that you're applying for. So for me, if I'm applying for, when I created this was looking at a human resource manager position, and I was able to talk about like, okay, so over the course of this time, I have been able to do this. I've worked in this and that industry. So the next part is, sorry. The next part is, more of like a statement now about myself. So however you choose to actually use it, however you choose to craft it, make sure it reflects who you are, what you bring to the table, and your goals for that particular role. Then the next part that I looked at was, okay, I want to include my history. I wanted it to be in such a way that the person can quickly see, okay, this is what I've done over. So when I say over a decade, like you can quickly see like, okay, the roles I've actually handled. And then I decided to split it into different areas. Again, disclaimer, I'm not saying that you should do it like this. So it's just one of the ways just for this presentation. So applying the SIM principle, I selected the skills that I needed. So the first thing that you see here is the role itself, which is administrator, and it states the organization that I worked for and then the date. This is the best way for you to actually put this information out there. And when you're writing your CV, it should always be in, I think, reverse chronological order, starting from the current and going backwards. So my current role is an administrator at the Root Hub, and started the role in March 2024, currently in that particular role. Then I go on to talk about the skills I have for that particular role. It could be one section. Probably sometimes you don't even have to mention it in your traditional CV. You could just mention it as skills and just let it be. Then the next part is the impact. So from here, you would see in the skill area, you would see personnel management, data documentation, system oversight, stakeholder communication, social media management, contract writing. And you are able to see how I translated those skills into the impact that it made. So I'll just go with manage the registration, activation, and life cycle of trainees and trainers, establishing a solid foundation in onboarding and personnel management. That's one aspect. The next one is maintain meticulous documentation of trainees registration, training periods, and payment. Then the next one is oversaw the operational workflow, including enrollment processes and scheduling, and acted as the main contact for clients and trainers or staff inquiries. So that is the impact that I'm able to portray using those skills that I actually presented. And then the next part is the metrics. Sorry. Okay. The metrics itself. So with these skills and this impact, I was able to streamline the personnel management processes, leading to effective onboarding and improved satisfaction amongst trainees and trainers. If you have like a particular number, like metrics, we're looking at like, okay, a particular number I was able to do to this certain level, I was able to take from 0 to 100. Those numbers actually do, in business term, it's more data driven. Like we're able to visualize it, like, okay, this is what this person actually did. It's like you saying, difference between saying, oh, I reduced the system downtime. That's just basic. But then in business term, it's like I reduced the system downtime from maybe 60 minutes to 5 minutes, allowing customers to be able to resume operations without affecting business processes. Now, for a business person, it's like, okay, I'm able to. That was just like very loose, but the person is able to see that, okay, this is what this person has achieved based off their skills. So the next one is project management. I want to go to the engineering side. So let's go to the engineering and teaching side. Okay, so so now, airport facility maintenance engineer, mention the organization, the duration. Now, the skills, maintenance, operations, um, problem solving, documentation, equipment management. Now, in impact, conducted routine equipment checks demonstrating a strong attention to detail, essential for compliance, safety, and quality assurance. Responded quickly to breakdowns and managed troubleshooting, documented tasks meticulously. Now, in terms of metrics, improved operational reliability and minimize equipment downtime through consistent checks and documentation, ensuring minimal disruptions of the operations. Now, you too, as a technical person, you're able to interpret what you have done into this skills, impact, and metrics. And then for a teaching role, this is what you get: communication, active listening, lesson planning, tools and equipment management, classroom management, record keeping. Then in impact, created that. Look at the last one with numbers. Maintain detailed records of academic performance for over 270 students. Now, numbers are introduced into it. Now, in the metric side, you see successfully managed academic records for over 270 students, demonstrating accurate and effective or an efficient documentation, achieved a 25% improvement in class attendance and a 70% student improved performance in 6 months. Apologies for the mistake, in 6 months. Now, data has come to show us, okay, this is the progress that was made. It will even be an added punch if you have like, okay, a particular system or maybe report that can actually back up your claim. However, this is going forward. This is probably like the best way for you to actually showcase yourself as someone that knows what they are doing and what they bring to the table and what they can achieve in a particular organization based on their past records. So that is it. And then in the aspect of skills and tools. So skills and tools, when we look at skills, there are soft skills and then there are technical skills. Soft skills would be communication, talking to people, people management. Those are soft skills. Now, technical skills, this is where the line is. Technical skills and tools are oftentimes considered the same thing. If I say that, okay, I'm skilled in using, say, productivity tools such as Google Workspace Suite, I can easily translate that into a skill, Google Workspace Suite. So do not be confused. You can choose to separate it as a skill from a skill and keep it as a tool. You can also choose to merge it together. Oftentimes, you would always put technical skills and soft skills. And then in technical skills, if you're a developer, a web developer, you would see something like, oh, JavaScript. A developer will mention like the programming languages that they know how to use. So do not get yourself confused. You can put anyhow you choose to put it. I believe it's still fine as long as those skills are there. So for say someone that is a project manager, a product manager, and you're wondering, do I really have the projects to actually back up what I've actually done to actually show myself that, okay, I've had experience as a project manager? This is what I can say to you. Have you ever led anything in church? Have you ever organized any outreach? Have you ever volunteered for any project, whether you're the one that led it or not? Those are the things that you will now talk about. So if you have celebrated someone's birthday and you have like a flyer to actually show that, okay, this is the birthday party that I actually organized, a surprise birthday party that I organized, that can be used as a project. You're going to look at how many people were in attendance, the budget that was used, the timeline that was used to execute that particular project. So that becomes a project, something that you can leverage on and say that, okay, although maybe in the role that you're looking for, say if you're trying to work with, say, UN as a project manager, you might feel like, oh, it's a distance, it's an ocean apart from what I'm going for. However, it shows that you're currently operating in that particular frequency as a project manager. If you've led any initiative, any community sanitation, you've led a say maybe a youth week, you've planned a youth week, you've set up a room for somebody, the interior decoration or something, those skills now can be, leveraged upon to actually showcase that you have project management skills. And this is not just for project managers or product managers. Anybody that actually had this in their corner, has actually led any project of any kind, can leverage these skills and be like, okay, this is what I've done. Just to let our technical folks actually understand that the difference between when they say, oh, we're looking for a junior designer or a junior developer or something, and then you see we're looking for a senior developer. The difference between junior and senior is management. The difference between junior and senior is management. And management entails what? Leadership, decision-making, strategy, and being able, and stakeholders communication. Primarily leadership and decision-making. If you look at an entry-level person, what is your role and responsibility? You're the yes man. You're just contributing to like the project. You're given a task, you do your task, and you produce results. So we're looking at your efficiency and the result that you're pushing out. A mid-level person, a mid-level, say, developer or designer or a manager, we're looking at, okay, how are you able to form that intermediary between junior and senior? So what you get from the executive, how do you communicate it? How do you manage the people under you and all? Now, by the time you get to senior, we're looking at your ability to take initiative, being proactive. Before something goes wrong, you already like thought about a solution for it. You've already started like, oh, we should go this way, we should do this, we should do that. Those are how people get the jobs that they actually get. So you might be there thinking, oh, but like, I've been a developer for 20 years. I've done this, I've done that. Yeah, okay. While you were doing that, were you actually managing people? Because at this point in time, you have to manage people. For you to get to head of product, head of project, head of any department, that means you've worked with people, you've managed people, you've resolved conflicts with people, you have try to make every single thing that happens, you look at the bigger picture. How does this affect the organization? How does this affect the business? How would this make the business have money? How would this, reduce loss on the business part? So these are things that you need to start putting in your CV. You need to start talking about like, okay, this is what I've done. These are the people I've worked with. I've worked with cross-functional teams. I've mentored people. I have been in charge of new hires at my organization, helping them, teaching them the ropes of how things are done. Those are leadership positions. Those are mentoring positions. Those are things that managers are looking for to make you the next senior technical person or the next senior expert. All right. So with that, I have come to the end of my own session on this particular episode. And if you have any questions, something that you're not too sure about, or any question in regards to what we have actually talked about, or something that is just bugging you, this is the time to answer. This is the time to ask while I scout for the two persons that have actually sent in their CV. So Mr. Daniel here, is going to be, he is the co-speaker here. So he's going to give us some insight into as someone that hires new team members, what are some of the things that he looks at in your CV? What are the things that will guarantee? What are the things that make him know that, okay, this person, I want to interview this person? So without much, if is there anybody that has a question? Anybody with a question? Okay. If you have a question and maybe you do not want to raise your hand and say it, you can drop the question in the in-call message while I hand over to Mr. Daniel and then go to prepare our CV. Okay, so Mr. Daniel, over to you.
Thank you very much, Hannah.
Please, let's celebrate him.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Can everyone hear me? Okay, great. So I think there's a question in the chat box actually saying if we can get a recording of the session. Could you just answer to that quickly?
Okay, yes, most definitely. When they decide to give it back to us, we would share it.
Okay, great. All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Adeshina. I'll just share a screen quickly. I have just 3 points to talk about this evening. I'd like for everyone to confirm if they can see my screen now. Okay, thank you, Hannah. That was wonderful, talking about crafting a powerful CV and resume for management roles. So I've heard a whole lot about crafting a powerful CV, but specifically for management roles, it's actually not so common. And so thank you very much. It's been very insightful. And I must say, most of the things I have to talk about already, you've covered explicitly. So what I'll just do is probably tell stories and share from practical experience how this impacts the hiring process. Okay, so Tommy Daniel, I work at Early Founders Labs, and I also founded my own startup, Sequoia. I head the learning and instruction processes as well as heading operations at Early Founders. And yeah, that's my contact, just in case you may need to, which you want to just ask off camera. That's fine. So let's get to it. Rule number one, for me, when it comes to checking out resumes for any role in particular that we're hiring for, is showcase your leadership and impact. Okay, so now Hannah has said a whole lot about that already, but sometimes we may just hear these things and we're like, okay, it's part of a presentation, let me just take note of it. No, please take special note of it. If you've been writing, maybe you want to underline this, because for me, it is like rule one when looking at any resume. And this is why every employer is not looking for someone they want to give instructions to. Every employer is looking for someone who can actually take initiative for themselves. So let's say I'm hiring for a position of a communications executive, or let's even say Hannah's position, for instance, as an administrator of any company or any startup. Okay, I am not looking to hire you for my company so that we can now welcome you on Monday and then we'll tell you, okay, sit down here. Okay, here's a file. Okay, here's Google Docs. Okay, here is a link to this and that. Can you please share your thoughts with us? No, we're looking for someone who will come on the team, who will give a roadmap of the vision, will tell the person exactly what we are about, tell the person what we're trying to achieve, and this person will share not just insights, but an execution plan for us. So you're sharing the plan with us because, of course, you need permission, you need approval to go ahead with it. But we're not looking for someone who's going to sit down and say, oh, they didn't tell me where to sit. Or the person will come to the office and be like, I have not been given what to do. So over the past 7 or 8 months, I have been involved heavily in the hiring process at Early Founders Labs because we've been expanding. And one of the cool things about expansion is you see roles that you no longer need, and then you see roles that you absolutely need. Okay, so we've had people leave the team simply because they didn't see me or the CEO often. Like in their words, they say, okay, they didn't hear anything from Mr. Daniel, they didn't hear anything from my own boss, and to us at management level, it's like you are really never going to hear anything from us. Okay. Of course, there's a place of assigning tasks directly to people, right? There's a place of telling people what to do. However, no employer, no organization is waiting for someone who consistently is being told what to do. And so to even get in, one of the major things we look out for is that leadership acumen and impact. And it's very simple, because I know someone might be thinking to themselves now, how do I show it without any experience? Okay, I have an experience, but I've never led before. You can simply talk about how you lead yourself. It's that easy. Trust me, one of the best resumes I've enjoyed checking out or reviewing are the resumes that seem like they are talking to me. So you can tailor your resume in such a way that you're not just giving bullet points. Your professional summary could actually tell a story. It's just one paragraph or just a couple of lines. However, that person will feel like you're talking to them. Okay, I could give you a quick example. You say you've never led before, you've never been in charge of something before. However, in the past, you've worked somewhere or you've done something for yourself. Simple. Okay, as silly as fetching water is, okay, to have your bath. You could rephrase it. Okay, I got a source of water to provide clean body sanitation. So it seems like big words, all right. However, it tells the person hiring that this person is careful enough to take note of how they take initiative. Now, of course, that was a silly example, and you can't use that in a professional setting, but I just give the example so you understand that no experience is too little. You can always showcase your skills in the little you do. And the great thing about doing that is when we see how well you can lead yourself in the little, we know that, okay, we can entrust a lot to this person. Number two, highlight key management skills. Key management skills. Now, emphasis on the word key management skills, because sometimes we can go ahead to say, oh, I work well with teams. Oh, I'm a good communicator. Oh, I'm a good this. I'm a good that. No, don't list all those things that are cliche and redundant. We are expecting it already. That's the truth. We have seen a ton of it. You can imagine sometimes I go through, let's say, 16 to 20 CVs or resumes in a day. And I have seen all those bullet points from morning till night. What stands your own out? Stick to the key ones. You can say, yes, everything applies to me. I agree with you, everything applies to you, but I will most likely go for the person who has maybe 3 or 4, because that tells me that you're intentional about the one you chose to put there. So if there are 10 management skills out there that resonate with you, choose 5 or 6 that you are absolutely capable of. You can say, oh, it's very hard. Which one am I absolutely capable of? Pick the first 6 on the line. You need to stand out. That's the truth. Sometimes we put out calls for a role, and we have 400 applications for one single role. And let me give you guys an insight into the back end. It's one person that will review all of them. Now, when it comes to interview process, you will meet multiple persons along in the company. But you see that first interview process, it may not be more than 1 or 2 persons that will go through it. Now, that's even in places where it's organic. Some people just pack all those applications and put in an AI generator, or they put in an AI system. They are actually softwares and applications for that to pick and select the most suitable for the role. So sometimes nobody's even seeing what you have written. And sometimes people are seeing it, but they are already exhausted and they are already oversaturated with so many resume words or CV words that we already see out there. So to stand out, stick to the key ones that apply to you. And the third point I want to talk about tonight, include a strong professional summary. I already let the cat out of the bag a little. You see, I cannot stress this part so much, right? If I pick a CV or I download a CV out of maybe 100 applications, and the first thing I'm saying is I believe I am suitable for this role because okay, if you can see my camera right now, this is how I'm reading. If you can see my video rather, this is how I'll be looking at the CV. But if I see something like I am this person, my name is Daniel, and I have achieved so 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 and so, I believe I can do same for your team, I will sit up. Like unconsciously, I will sit up and I'll probably get closer to my system and I'm thinking, okay, who is this person? Then I probably want to check out your socials. Then I probably want to see those key management skills you included. Something that gets my attention, basically. And it's like that for most people because we are human. And that's just the simple truth. Now we are human. How about situations where it's just put into a software application? Those applications also are being programmed by human beings. So if I put, let's say, 100 applications into a CV monitor, for instance, I will be the one to put in the metrics I want it to use to search for this person suitable for my role. So if I put objectives like, okay, check out the summary, look for certain words in the professional summary, look for certain words like I have, achievables, deliverables, and things like that, it will automatically look for things like that. And so let your professional summary tell a story. So let's take my fetching water example again. I am looking for a role of someone who can bathe my child, for instance. As much as bathing my child is important, I would see so very many people who will be talking about the soap they will use. I'll see so many people who will be talking about the style they will use in bathing the child. All those things are important. But if I see somebody who's able to secure water for themselves, that gets my interest immediately because I'm thinking, oh, I can actually go out and you can do this thing for me. I don't have to be in the house. I don't have to be in the environment. You can actually figure things out for yourself. It means you have certain things like skills that will make me leave this thing in your charge and it will be done, it will be taken care of without me micromanaging. That's one thing all employers avoid so very much. We don't want to micromanage. When you have to tell somebody, do this, do that, do this, do that, it is always very stressful. And that's because we live in a world of innovation. People are leveraging their minds now. They think and think and think over and over again. And so they are not looking for someone who will stress their mental capacities by having to think for them. They would rather have someone who can do things for themselves so they can channel their mental capacities into thinking for solutions for the entire team. And that's point number 3 that I was going to share about. Let me just do a quick recap. Rule 1, showcase leadership and impact. Don't forget the clause there. Not just leadership. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. What has what you can do provided or resulted in? That is what impact is about. I can fetch water. Okay, you can fetch water. Good and fine. But I can fetch water to help provide this. That is impact. So let's say you're applying for the role of an administrator. I am good at record keeping. I am good at communication. I am good at working in teams. Good and fine. Wonderful story. How does that help me? I am good at record keeping, and that will help me analyze companies' data to provide solutions. That is impact. That gives me an idea of what you can do for me with your own skills. Number 2, key management skills. Always highlight the key management skills. You don't have to put everything there. I know some of us even enjoy AI so much. You go to ChatGPT, it gives you all about yourself. Maybe you even put in your CV there and it can help you rejuvenate it. However, still limit it to key management skills. And lastly, I said a strong professional summary. Strong doesn't necessarily mean it has to have all the grammar in the world. Let it be as explicit as possible. However, it should be able to carry me along. And that's something underlying in rule 3 is the power of research. Okay, you should research over and over again. I had so for one of the rules we put out at Early Founders, we actually asked people to submit a 1-paragraph about our impact and about what we do and how it impacts the world at large. And people were just going to our website, and you could literally feel some people copying from the website and posting in their emails. You could feel some people taking off ChatGPT and comment. But there was this one person who settled down and told us a story of how she actually felt marginalized in secondary school and how she felt like she could have done better and she wouldn't have just gone to study medicine if she had the right innovative skills to go into the world of technology. But now she's glad that this is an opportunity for her to switch careers. And I was like, man, I need to meet you quickly. I set up the interview and I met with the person. Person scaled up to the last levels with our CEO. And I can tell you for sure, the person is working with us right now. Why? Because she could tell a story with a good summary. So it's been good sharing all of this with you all. Thank you. I don't know. I hope I have been audible throughout. However, if you have any questions, you can always drop, like Hannah said. Thank you so much. And I hope we can move on to the practical session now so we can answer questions and review properly. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Daniel. Like, I think you just cemented the entire thing. Thank you so much. Does anybody have a question for
Thank
Mr. Daniel? We're going to start the practical session now. I found 2 CVs. We're going to start the practical side now. Does anybody have a question? Okay, as always, just drop it in the in-call message and we'll attend to it. So, permission to showcase these CVs. I have one from Esther Madu. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Okay, so I believe that's Nena, right? Nena.
Yes, my Nana.
Okay, okay, hi. All right, so we'll be looking at your CV first. I would like for you to share like a job description, like a job that you're currently looking to apply for, so that we can see how, you know, we can match that to what your CV should look like. Can you quickly find something like that? Or should we just craft it? Daniel, what do you think? Should it just be based on like something generic that she can always use? Or should it be focused for a particular role?
Okay, I'm a laboratory
Okay,
scientist.
since she submitted, I think she should let us know what she wants, and
Okay,
everyone can learn
okay,
from that.
okay. Nana, over to you.
Okay, I'm a medical laboratory scientist. So and that's my current role.
Okay. Sorry, this is my screen showing. I can't see anything on my end. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, okay. I see where the issue is coming from. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? The CV.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. So, Nana, so you're looking to take, are you looking to get a management position, or are you looking to switch careers? Like what is that? What is it that you're looking for?
A management position.
Okay, a management position. Okay, so I'm going to start with the professional summary here. Highly skilled admin and clinical laboratory scientist with 2 years of experience in clinical and research hospital settings, experience in completing laboratory procedures and delivering precise and timely results. A self-starter looking to bring her strong problem-solving skills, ability to develop strong relationships and communicate effectively, and refined attention to details to an industry leading medical organization. It's missing something for me. Daniel, what do you think? The professional summary, let's start with that. What do you think? something just feels like it's not there.
Okay, so here's the first thing I noticed. So it's great for you, Esther. It's so very great for you. However, if we're looking to hire for a management position, you may want to avoid talking about your achievements personally. Okay, try to tailor your achievements in working with people. So when we're hiring for management positions, we want to see how best you can leverage a team, how best you can work with people to achieve something. So, like for instance, you say a self-starter looking to bring her strong problem-solving skills. Instead of saying looking to, let it be what you have done or what you are doing. Okay, and try to avoid self, try to avoid I's, try to avoid me's. Let it be more of I led a
Mm-hmm.
team, I achieved this with a team. That's what we're looking at when we want to hire for management positions.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay, so I hope you're taking notes. Okay, so for I think Daniel has finished working the professional summary side. The admin role that you actually had, let's look at that. Admin and clinical laboratory sciences. I see that in your recent experience, you talked about train fellow employees on laboratory practices and protocols. Those are the things that you should actually push forward. So you were able to, you managed a maybe say 5 employees, and taught them the rudiments of the safety protocols and all the practices of the lab. Then you were able to make that connection between any higher up and the current operations of the lab. Those would actually be like a more suited approach to it. So for me, I would like to see the trained fellow employees, or should I say, saying trained fellow employees doesn't really like hit it. Say probably trained fellow scientists, or something that talks more to the particular job description. Trained fellow scientists on laboratory practices and protocol. I would like to see that first. Then you also talk about like, okay, this developed and implemented laboratory protocols in order to do so and so. Then ah, collaborated, yeah, with team leader to identify this better way that can be written, enabling laboratory staff to produce quality and timely results. Daniel, what do you think? That's just, I feel like the part of working with people should come first, then all the other practices that you're able to develop and implement can come after. Daniel?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Those are wonderful points. However, you'd want to start with the people part always. Let the people part get the attention, because that person is looking to see how best you can work with the team.
Okay. So the next one is executive assistant to the office of the commissions director. All these parts is, I don't really think that that's necessary. To the office of, you can just take out that part. So the job title is executive assistant. Then the brackets where you put your, or the organization, you can now put, or executive assistant to missions directorate. Okay, not necessarily, I think take out the to the office of, that just makes it too long. Just executive assistant to missions directorate. We will figure out they would actually, you would get to actually talk about more in the interview process, but keep it short. And then, okay, you can even add it after you name the organization, and then you can attach that particular part. Then, so as that, what were the skills, that what was the responsibility maximize productivity rates by proactively providing feedback on operational concerns and product issues, provided administrative support to the department, including managing calendar, coordinating meetings, preparing reports, resulting in 25% increase in departmental efficiency. Okay. Maintain comprehensive database of the mission's activity. So let's start with the provided administrative support to the department. That means you helped people in the department. That's the direct interpretation of it. You helped people maybe in document control or something, but you shall help people in the department. Focus more on that area. Bring that one top. How were you able to, help them? Try to think of like, okay, you coordinated meetings between employees, head of department, this one, that one. Talk about like, okay, the people that you were able to actually coordinate meetings with. That's one. And then preparing reports. Yeah, that's actually there. But since this is talking about a department and we know that it's more than one person, try to should I say beef it up a bit, bring out the people, bring out what you did for the people in that department. That is, then the rest could come maintained. Okay, the next one for me would be maintain comprehensive database. Maintain, that means people's records. You maintain people's records for all, or you maintain records for all the activities of the missions. And last but not the least would be the maximize productivity. Daniel?
So another tip here, take out the dates. Take out the dates, okay? So sometimes dates are relevant when you want to show how many years of experience you've had. However, all of the roles you've listed here spans over 2 years maximum. And so for
Yeah.
me, looking at it tells me that you're jumping from one role to another. Was it a you thing, or was it that they couldn't trust you well enough in those roles? Whatever the reason may be, you would want it to get to interview process before you share such a thing. Because I could just sit now and judge and say, this person is not serious. It did not succeed here. And so they moved here, moved here, they moved here. So just take out the dates. If it's over a couple of years, then it works. But multiple roles within the same period, take out the dates.
That's such a powerful thing. Yes, please. And then they seem like similar. You were practically playing. Now that I look at it again, it looked like you were playing the same. You had the same responsibilities over the different roles. So why don't you just put it together, and it's the same organization? Put it together that okay, this is what you were able to do. You now list out the responsibilities that you were able to get while keeping the dates. Just one of it. But that's a really powerful point right there. Then we go on to medical lab. Okay. And if you don't mind me saying, I've noticed that, well, which actually speaks to what Mr. Daniel said, because it's like, what exactly was happening? Like, I'm seeing less than 3 months, less than 2 months. Was it that these were activities, or should I say short responsibilities that once you executed them, you went on to move on to something else? Or what exactly were you moving around those things? And the more I look at it, the more the date just doesn't make it, doesn't make me trust the CV, and put it that way. So NYC, okay. Appointed. Okay, so now appointed head of the laboratory unit, irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. You can go ahead and say something like led the laboratory unit. That is more direct to the point. Stating that you were actually appointed is more like it's almost like saying, oh, putting on social media that you got a first class. Like, it really does it really add anything? No. Is this something that we wanted to know? Maybe not. Does it change something? Not really. So best say, okay, let the laboratory unit in the NYS, like let did something. You actually did something. Just being appointed is not enough. That is one. And then this terminology is, well, I guess you're a medical person, so I'll just let it be. But if you were applying to a non-medical organization, you might want to take into consideration the person that might be reading your CV may not be a technical expert. So as much as possible, you might want to find like, okay, the simpler term for that particular thing. But then it might just be my self talking here. However, just look at it in case you want to apply for a role in an organization that is outside your current, industry. You might consider these different terminologies. However, but for your own technical jargon, this is perfect. This is fine. So, Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, so great points so far. I think that covers it. Do we still have another section? I think I can only see up to skills here.
Okay, we have education, skills, and strength.
That's strength. I don't think it's an appropriate header.
Nah, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. And you're repeating what is already in the skills in strengths.
Yeah, so we
So,
can do without it entirely.
yeah, yeah. So for the education, I like what you did. So there's one common mistake. I'll keep it for like the next CV so that we can actually talk about that. But that is about it. You can also, for a medical lab scientist, you can also talk about the tools that you actually learned how to use, like the tools that you can use. Like if there is like a special x-ray machine or a scanner, something that you can actually use. It's always good to put those things. I learned this from, I think, my engineering background. Being able to put certain tools that you have experience with can also help in the hiring process, because it's like saying, oh, as a product manager, I know how to write Python code, or like I use program and Python programming. It makes it sound, okay, this person has this technical knowledge and will be a good fit. So in the part of skills, you can include a tool or an equipment that you actually use as a laboratory scientist. Okay. So do you have any question for us, Esther? Is there something that we did not point, or something that you would like to get clarity on before we move to the next CV?
No, ma, thank you, ma. I completely understand everything that's been said. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you have our contact in case you need further reviews. We would be happy to help. Okay, so next person is Promise Gerald. Promise, are you still on the call? Promise Gerald, are you still on the call? She here, please. If you are, your mic is mute, so I can't hear anything. Okay, Promise. Would we be reviewing CVs again? Daniel, what do you think? I mean, for me, yeah, but it won't be on the spot per se. But Daniel, what about you?
Yeah, well, if we could find another time within the 5-week period, I'm open to it.
Okay. Yeah, I think let's do that. If there's an open slot within the next 5 series, the 5 weeks of the series, we would definitely, or you could even send it, but responding to it immediately, no, I won't. I don't think I'll be able to do that. But if I see it, I would give input. Promise, are you there? Is she still with us? I can see her on the call, but then I'm not getting anything. And her CV is really the one that I would like for us to take time to digest. Okay, so let's just go ahead with it then. The call is recorded, so she will have access to it. Okay, so Promise Gerald, here's me the still loading on my end. Okay, have it up. So let me just share that. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Okay. Daniel, can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So first things first, for me, lose the personal data. So okay, I did mention this during the talk, but I know on the, I don't know about you, Daniel. I don't know whether you've ever applied for a a role with the state government or federal government. Oftentimes, these informations are actually requested for. I did apply for one, and then they sent back my CV and told me that I didn't know how to write a CV. And when I asked them for that, they said, oh, that I did not include my state of origin and my local government and my age, actually my date of birth. So, but when you look at uh, all that we understand, that we've come to understand about human resource management and the hiring process, we already know that these things introduce bias. And as much as possible, we're trying to reduce bias when it comes to the hiring process. Let it not be based on your skin or your religion or where you come from. That should not be the reason why you're hired. It should be purely on your skills and your, what you've actually been able to achieve and what you bring to the table. So I'll just go on a limb and say, please do not put your personal data, this entire region, do not put it. I don't know when we would be able to convince the governments in Nigeria as a whole that we should not be including these things, because they do introduce bias, which in my own case, when they asked me to actually put those things, was just so that they could see the tribe I came from. This is in Akwa Ibom. This is not even outside Akwa Ibom. This is in Akwa Ibom, and I'm from Akwa Ibom. They wanted to see which local government I come from, what tribe I belong to. That's why they needed that personal data. Again, bias, because what does it matter? If I can do the job, I can do the job. It doesn't matter whether I am female, whether I am younger than the current workforce. It doesn't matter where my state is. It doesn't matter whether I'm a Nigerian. It doesn't matter what I believe in. So things like this already, they lower your chances, because if the hiring manager is not principled, the person might just look at this and be like, based on what I know about Nigerian people or people from Ibesipo, I do not want to hire this person. So for me, personal data is a no-no. Aside from the bias part, there is also, you are providing personal identifiers. This is now like a security issue, personal identifier. So whether you get the job or not, the organization has this information about you, has all this information about you. So please do not put personal data unless they request for it, which, as long as you're in Nigeria, those things tend to happen every now and then. So Daniel, what's your take?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So professionally speaking, in our space, there's no need. I mean, HR wise, there's no need. However, Hannah, you did actually talk about it when you were having your first session, and that's the fact
Yeah.
that sometimes we need to tailor our resume to like the role we're applying for. So yeah, we just have to accept our environment. It's Nigeria. Okay.
Mm.
So obviously if you're applying for a government job, just give to Caesar what Caesar needs. Okay. But if you're looking for a managerial role in like our space in our community, there's no need. Okay. I think the first thing that screamed at me was your
Yeah.
address. It screamed at me and I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, wow, 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 wow. Because if I'm looking to
I
hire for a
just
role,
got sight.
if I'm looking to hire for a role and I'm seeing your address and I'm like, oh, is there even light in that place? You know, and like Hannah said, that's just the thing. Even if we're trying to be unbiased, when things like that scream at you, you just can't avoid it. I mean, as a human, you're just thinking, okay, this person is too young. If this person comes now, will this person be my boss? You know, so as much as possible, try to avoid
Gen
any
Z.
you. Yes, yeah, yeah. You'll be thinking, if they bring this person, okay. Quick story, yeah. For like the longest period, I was trying to make my team lose the Mister in my name. Like they will call me Mr. Daniel, and I'm like, no, my name is Daniel. My name is Daniel. But then we hired somebody, and this person straight up just called me Daniel on first day. You know, as much as I didn't want the Mister, it was like, give me a chance to reject the Mister. And like for real, it didn't mean anything to me, but it just hit me hard that okay, this person is Gen Z, you know. And I am saying this story so you understand that the person was like already in the company. Okay, so there's basically nothing I can do about it. However, imagine I had a chance to know your age or to know, like,
Mm.
okay, what generation you belong to. And I'm like, that's an insecurity I have as a human. You know, obviously, this is not a work call, so I can say this freely. As a human, I can say, oh, I don't want this person on my team. This person will not respect me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me avoid that. But professionally speaking, you can put us in a place where we don't even know that. So, like Hannah said, try your best not to introduce bias for yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. Okay, so for career objective, okay. So I do see persons put career objective and professional summary. And I remember one of the few seminars and webinars that I attended back in school, they made us understand that, okay, this was during my service, made us understand that career objectives are for a person looking to what you want to do for the what you can do, or no, like for the position that you're looking for. uh what what are your career objectives? Like, okay, now that you're done with school, like what are you looking to actually get? uh it used to look nice on the CV, but for me personally now, I want a professional summary. And your professional summary should be a pitch. Yes, with what you've learned, with what you've done over time, what do you bring to the table? So me seeing career objective, I might just be like, okay, let's just see where this goes. And I'm saying I used to write it. So I can say that it's totally not necessary. Just talk about like your professional summary, like what you've achieved so far and what you can achieve if given the opportunity. So just leave it as professional summary rather than saying career objectives. But that's just for me. Other persons might have different approach to it, but that's for me. Danny, what do you think about career objectives?
Yeah, so again, I think the whole structure of this particular series for that kind of local government or state government application. So actually, for me, lose or change that word, change it to a professional summary. If you're looking for a managerial role, then a proper startup, a proper company run by a board, run by a management team, lose that. Okay, it's a totally different world. This is acceptable on
Mm.
some level, government, but I think you really, really need to restructure, in fact, overhaul totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Then for the education and qualification, please always start with your specializations. Like let's say
Yeah.
specialization. I don't want to see first school living certificates. No, please don't put that. We know you went to school. We know you went to primary school and secondary school. Don't put that. Then YX certificates, please. Abi YX, yeah, certificates. All that the secondary school you went to, please do not put that. Start from your degree or your diploma, and work your way forward. We don't let's start from the era where you were specialized in a particular field. You know what you did in primary school, secondary school was like, oh, you were doing science, arts, commercial science, everything mixed together. There was no specialization. So start from specialization. Okay, you focused on science in so department, and you came out with that, this and that. And you put in the duration of your schooling period is irrelevant. You can just put the year of your graduation, maybe say November 2024. Just put that and let it be there. When we start talking about it, we will know that whether you did 5 years, whether you did 10 years, whether you did 20 years, it will come out. So putting it like this, for me, it's irrelevant. Daniel, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's widely accepted. Anything from below your area of specialization is not needed. I mean, I know definitely you do not appear in university, you do not appear in your higher degree learning. So let's just know what you can do. What's your specialization? We know the process to get in there.
Okay. All right. So now the experience parts. This is everything, and just everything everywhere all at once. That's what's giving me, because I cannot see. Okay, I see the organization, I see the position, but I don't know which one I'm supposed to be looking at first. Should I be looking at the organization, or should I be looking at the date? Either way, this pushing it to the far end is totally unnecessary. The best and professional way to actually write it is the position comes first, the position that was handled comes first, then the organization in which you handled it, and then the dates, whether from so date to so date, you put that out there. Then okay, so this is 2024 till date. 2024 when? Like, this is the part where you should introduce the month, because it's quite confusing now. 2024, when did you start? We're not asking for the particular day you started, but at least let's know the month that you started, month and the year till date, and tell us about what you actually did in each of these positions. Because field enumerator, I'm not sure, is it somebody that is carrying money? Like, I'm not sure what the role is about. And this is because different things mean different roles mean different things in different organizations and industries. So you do yourself a favor by giving us a good idea of, like, okay, what we're looking at. So for me, everything is just everywhere. This part of internship, there was a particular role that you were handling in that your internship. Talk about it. This volunteer too, there is a particular role that you played. You can always put in brackets volunteering or intern, but you were either an executive assistant intern or a customer service representative volunteer. There is a role that you were playing. So try to put that out there. And sometimes you don't even have to put the intern and the volunteer, just put the role that you played. So that's for me. The experience part needs to be completely overhauled and done properly. The role and the responsibilities. So Daniel?
Yes, Hannah, I agree with you. I think overall structure is important here. So like you said, we're looking at so much information at the same time. It would do I think it's promise, right? It would do promise a whole lot of help if you can probably check for CV templates, or maybe hire Hannah for a one-on-one session. You need to understand how to structure this properly. Yeah. Aside from the
Yeah.
words, where should dates
Yeah.
stand? Where should position stand? Where should title stand? You really need all of that. And it's great
Okay.
experience actually. Like when we sit to read,
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But if you want to get the person's attention on the first look, you need to work on structure.
Yeah. Okay. Then skills and expertise. Okay, skills and I remember when I used to write ability to work independently. It is good to actually say things like this, but then there's a better way of saying things. Oftentimes it's not about what you say, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. So if you're saying ability to work independently, in professional English, what does that translate? It could be being proactive. That's one. It could be um, working with little to no supervision, things like that. So like capacity to take initiative with when appropriate. That is proactiveness. That's proactiveness. You're able to take initiative. You're proactive. So find the best ways to actually use it. Then saying good volunteering and administrative skills. Those are two different things. Separate them. Administrative skills, when you talk about administrative skills, break it down. What administrative skills are you talking about? Is it organization? Is it organization? What is it that we're talking about here? Is it even, because even data analysis and data entry, those are administrative skills. So like, what are you talking about? And volunteering, as per how is there somebody that cannot volunteer? So these are the things that you should actually look at when you say ICT skills. We're in a digital age, my people, a global age where everything is connected. When you say ICT skills, save yourself the embarrassment, because if I see ICT skills, I'm thinking you can code for Africa. So break it down to like, oh, I mean Microsoft, too. I mean Microsoft Word. I mean Excel. I mean PowerPoint. These are the skills that I have. Saying ICT skill just bunches everything into one, which is really not what you're trying. That's not the impression that you're trying to give your hiring manager. And Mr. Daniel talked about this team player. Team player where, oh, how are you playing in the team? So things like this. Just find a better way of saying it. Okay, Daniel, over to you.
Again, you've covered all the bases. You've covered all the bases. Yeah. So actually, I think this person must have submitted the CV before we even had that session. I'm sure after that session
Yes.
on her own, she can actually make corrections to this. Okay, makes a whole lot of sense. There's the
Yeah.
groundwork. Like I can tell this person actually has a lot of content. It's just on
Yeah.
how to structure and put it appropriately that
Yeah.
we need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yes, and you're right. She did submit it before we started this session. So yes. Well, and I'll just jump straight down to this referrals and referees. For I think to stand a chance, I get uh don't don't include your referees unless they were requested for. Because oftentimes, say you went out of a particular role on bad terms with like your manager or somebody that is just probably out to get you, and then they call the person because you put the person's contact there, and you don't even stand a chance to actually defend yourself before you get kicked off or blacklisted. So always try to go for the available and request route. It buys you time, at least, even if you have to buy one to go and appease those people and say, please, oh, whatever I've done to you, just forget it for today. When they call you, just say that I'm the best person. At least give yourself a fighting chance. Don't put referees and have your references actually there. That's for me though. Don't do it. Don't do it. I've never seen a, well, there are situations where it works, but it's always best let them request for it. And certifications and trainings, it's good. Just again, structure. What should be there? How should it come? Uh, Things like that. So, Daniel, any other thing to add before we wrap up?
So the referee, you could actually ask, put like it's available on request. I
Mm,
don't think you want us going to call the people immediately when you've not actually briefed them first. I
yeah.
mean, just a tip, a back end tip. Obviously,
Mm,
you put them there because they always have something good to say about you. But when we call them, we don't want them rambling on and on and on. You need to tell them, okay, I've applied for a managerial role at so so and so. So when they get that call, you're not telling them what to say. However, they know what to talk about because sometimes they ask us to speak about something to someone and I wonder, okay, is the person even going to work on a farm? Should I talk about
mm,
Caesar to
mm.
plant seed? So just to help you, you could ask that you could put that it's available on requests, so you could just update your referees all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
I
believe
think,
we have
Anna,
exhausted.
I think
We said,
let's not take the one for all approach. I mean, I'm talking to the
mm,
whole house now. Let's not take the
yeah.
one for all approach. Always have
Yeah.
the flexibility to work on your CV for each role that you apply for.
Yes, please. Yes, please. In case we didn't mention it before. Yes, every role is different. The requirements are different. So ensure that whatever you are putting in your CV matches what is needed. That is like, in case we didn't mention it, now we've said it. Yes,
Yeah.
Lizzie Gold.
Okay, thank you so much, Hannah and Daniel. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for all that you have said tonight. Okay, so my own challenge is that I have, okay, my CV, I haven't even used it in years. So I have a huge gap between the last time I worked and now that I'm trying to transition into a virtual assistant. So I don't know how to fill up that part. Then even the jobs I did in time past is either between the duration of maybe 6 to 9 months. They were not even very long, time frame. So all of that, I've been trying to rearrange my CV, but I've just been getting stuck in my mind. I don't know how to navigate it and come up with something that is good enough. I don't know what you can suggest. And then all of those times that I wasn't actively working, I was doing the family thing, and then I was active in church. I handle so many roles in church. Okay. So I don't know how I can put that in my CV.
Okay. Daniel, you did take this one.
Okay, so you're going to help me. I was struggling to hear her, so I think I missed the last part. I
Okay.
just in the
Okay.
crowning.
Okay. Okay. So she is talking about she has not worked for a while. I At this point in time I would say professionally, maybe like in an organization or something. So there is the career gap that she each time she tries to write her CV, she's not sure what she should put there, and she's getting confused on like how to, explain that career gap. However, she went on to mention, that's the last part that you did not hear, that she, although she was on break, she was actively involved with family and doing a lot, taking a lot of positions and handling a lot of projects in church. So that is that.
Good. So that's like good foundation for all of this. It's just to find appropriate words and phrases to use. Everything you've done meaningfully within the time that won't call a gap, you can actually turn into projects, self project. I mean, personal projects. Yes, that's what I want to say. Personal projects. And there's one good way to avoid gaps. There's one good way to ensure people don't see the gaps, or at least you can scale for a while without the gaps showing. That's by avoiding dates. When you don't have dates on your CV, you would at least get to the interview process. Now, when you get to the interview process, it's good because we can talk like this. Okay, so you can tell your story to the interviewer, to the hiring manager, and let them understand what you did meaningfully within your time. So for CV, one good way to cover the gaps is by avoiding dates, and then turn the things you did within that period into personal projects, and ensure you also add how that impacts for the role you are applying for.
Okay, absolutely have nothing else to add to that. That's exactly it. Just turn what you have done in the period of your, let's say, sabbatical or your gap, turn it into like, okay, skill development, how you were able to improve yourself. That's just it. So Daniel smashed that one. I hope that helps. Lizzie Gold.
A lot. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there any other question? We've successfully come to the end of today's episode. And for those of you that have hung with us from the beginning up until now, okay, blessing. Yes, please.
Good
Blessing, yes.
evening. Can you hear
Good
me?
evening. Yes, yes.
Thank you
I
so
can.
much because I've just been smiling. I've learned a whole lot from this. But I was the one that asked if you'll be reviewing CVs after today. So you made mention that I should submit it, but I really don't know where I should submit it. Like, who do I submit it to? In case of next
Okay, so
time.
let me send you my email address.
Okay.
Yeah. So my email address is in the in-call messages. So you can send it there and just
And
say,
thank you very much.
yeah, as subject, say for review, CV review, so that I would start it for next session.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Anything you would like to say before we successfully close for today?
Well, I think we've said it all. I would just like to say a very big thank you to everyone who is intentional about their growth enough to spend this time. It's wonderful. It's engaging, and just as last words, I'll say, do your best to practice this now. Okay, there's one thing I've learned whenever whenever we go through sessions like this, there's that tendency to say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow morning, or I'll do it in the afternoon, I'll do it next tomorrow, and then you just lose the train of thoughts almost immediately. So to get the most out of it, make your corrections, make your input almost immediately after this call, if you can. All right. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. I subscribe to what Daniel has said. Please, it's not enough to just come, show up, and be amongst those that will actually hear. When you put it to practice, it shows that okay, you learned something, you took something away from here. So I say a very big thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for taking out the time. It's not easy on such short notice, but you came through. Thank you, every single person. And I do have gifts for the 3 people that were here initially. So Mr. Abiodun, Promise was the first person on the call. Mr. Abiodun, Daniel was the second. Daniel, do you want a gift? Are you sure you want a gift? Should I give it to someone else? I should give it to you.
You repay me later.
No problem. So it's not anything big before people think that I want to buy a house. No, please. But I would be sending airtimes to you guys. Thank you so much for actually showing up. That's for the people that actually were here very early. I'll be sending airtime to them. I'll not disclose the amount so that if you want to come early, you come. If you don't want, you leave it. But thank you so much. Thank you for actually being here. To give up 2 hours of sleep time is really huge for me. It's a huge sacrifice for you guys to be here. So thank you. And I can't wait to see the amazing things that you go on and achieve after today. And I can't wait to meet you guys again next week. Please take this as a complete career overhaul. try to be as intentional as you are today to see these 5 weeks through. I guarantee you, you're not going to miss it in any way. You're not going to feel like, oh, you wasted your time, or you feel like, oh, you didn't get your money's worth. You're not even paying. So like you will not feel it's worth it. Just sit with us, stay with us. Thank you so much. All right. So that's all from our end. That's all from my end. Thank you. And I would see you sooner rather than later. Take care and have a great week ahead. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Hannah.
Chana,
Thank
thank
you.
you. God, I
Thank
learned
you.
a lot. I'm going to get my CV done.
Thank you. Nice.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank you.
right. Good night.